Minecraft Bedrock is a very interesting version of Minecraft. Despite being the most popular version of Minecraft, it's a little hated. Just a little. Only like a couple of people hate it, you know? It's just only a little hated, alright? So yeah, I decided I wanted to do a complete playthrough of Minecraft Bedrock Edition, including making a brand new world, getting geared up, building some farms, and then defeating the Ender Dragon. I want to experience everything Minecraft Bedrock has to offer and see if it's truly as bad as everyone says. Now, as I loaded into my world, the first thing I noticed is just how good the game looks. On Minecraft Bedrock, you can play at a super high render distance without dropping frames. I even turned my render distance up to 28 chunks here just because I could, and it just looks so good being able to see the entire mountain range. Also, I found my first ever armadillo. I haven't seen one in Minecraft yet, and I immediately killed it. Sorry, little guy. But yeah, I was just basking in the glory of this world. It looks so good. Minecraft Bedrock's such a fun version to explore in because you can have these stupid high render distance. My laptop's capable of going up to 76 chunks, which is just incredible. Anyways, enough of that. We have to start moving quickly because the Badlands is a terrible biome to start in. There's no source of food here, barely any trees. It's incredibly difficult to traverse. I desperately needed to collect just a little bit of wood and then start making my way out of here. After a bit of exploring, I was starting to get hungry, so I tried my luck trying to get apples from leaves. It was not going well. I eventually just made a hoe to make it go a little bit faster, and it worked eventually. It was very worrying having to go through long stretches of Badlands without any food, though. I traveled very far away from spawn at this point, and if I died, that would just be very unfortunate. I would have wasted so much time. So I was desperate just to find anything, whether that be a new biome or a body of water. Eventually, I did get lucky, and I ended up finding a beach. It was also right next to a cave, so I decided to take advantage of that to get some coal and iron. I also decided to kill a spider before I left, which was very risky, but I needed the string to make a fishing rod, so I had some source of food. Now, since it was nighttime, I tried to speedrun just something for me to sit in for safety by the water, and I almost died to a skeleton, but we pull through. We're simply better. I then finished the little hut, and, you know, it's not pretty, but it kept us safe, and that's what matters. I pretty much just sat there fishing for the rest of the night so I could have some form of food. In the morning, I kind of just left it there as a memory of where we've been, made a boat, and I left through the ocean. I figured we'd have a better chance of surviving if I ran through the desert than the Badlands because we could at least encounter bunnies or a village. And look at my luck, we found the village! This village was actually such a saving grace of the world. If we never found this, I probably would have just had to restart with a different seed because these conditions were ridiculous. I actually originally wanted to do this on the new Bedrock Hardcore mode, but decided against it last second. And if I had done that, this would have been such a stupid challenge to go through. Surviving through a Badlands and then a desert is just not fun at all. But now that we're at the safety of this village, I think this would be a good time to bring up one of the biggest talking points around Bedrock. It is just too difficult. Your hunger depletes a lot faster in Bedrock, and you heal so much slower. Look at Java healing compared to Bedrock healing. It is ridiculous. On top of that, mobs also have more aggressive and just better AI. Like, it is kind of ridiculous how much harder it is to survive on Bedrock Edition considering this is meant for mobile players. Like, why is the Java PC version so much easier in comparison? It makes no sense. Anyways, moving on, I decided to make a wall around the village with pretty much whatever resources I could find. It's just so I could keep all the villagers in here safe, make sure no monsters or pillagers get in, you know? And then make this place very livable, planting some trees and starting a pretty good farm. But despite making this place super safe and livable, I decided to set off on my own because I really don't want to live in a desert biome. Like a great dictator once said, I don't like sand. After sailing for a few minutes, I ended up finding a dark forest. I traveled through it a bit and I found this incredible spot by a lake that just had every type of forest imaginable surrounding it. A spruce one, a birch one, a dark oak with all the oak trees. This was probably the most perfect spot I could have found. I set up a little base here with a farm I tried to make look nice, but I'm not talented enough for that. And I went mining to get more resources. I did it on Y16 so that way I'd get an increase in iron and coal since I don't have much of that right now. And I use the strat to make it more efficient where I go into crawl mode using water. I end up stumbling into a cave and I get my first diamond. But want to know what's more valuable than a diamond? The subscribe button. Please hit it. I want to hit 50,000 subscribers. Thank you guys. Anyways, moving on. I explore a little bit deeper. I jump down onto the skeleton, kill it because I'm simply better to get more diamonds. I do get lost down here, which is a little unfortunate, so I have to dig my way back up to the surface. Once I got up to the surface, I made my way back home. We're a bit of ways away, which kinda sucks. And I made a tiny little hole where some cows would go eventually. I killed the baby salmon for its bones, and used it to grow wheat to lure cows over into the hole. I then finished up the hole and made it look all pretty. I then got started on my house. Now, I'm not very experienced with building. I don't do a lot of Minecraft survival, and even when I do survival, like SMPs, I'm just making little bases to store my stuff, and then I go on with whatever I was doing. I like do a lot of exploring and loot gathering. I'm not much of a builder, but I wanted to try my absolute hardest to make a nice looking house. I decided to keep it simple, using pretty much only wood, and I wanted to go for like a gradient look using the different kinds of logs. I went from dark oak to spruce to regular oak, and even though I'm not that good at building, I do know you don't want your builds to be flat. So I added some diorite walls on the sides here, and then I added cobblestone right after just to add a bit of texture. I then cleared out all the stuff behind the house. That's one of the downsides to building it here instead of like a plains biome, for example. It just requires a lot of digging and mining in order to actually build the house and get a flat area. But once I got that done, I started building up the walls, and honestly, I was pretty satisfied with how it was looking. Again, I'm not very good at building. It's very new for me, and this is by far one of the best things I've ever made in Minecraft. I then got started on the roof, and I just want to say the bedrock bridging kinda came in clutch here. I love this mechanic, and it sped up the process of placing blocks up here so much. I then went along the top and started adding stairs to the roof just to add a bit more to it so it's not completely flat. And boom, this is how it looks. But it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but you know what? It's mine, and I love it. Who am I kidding? This thing is just terrible, an absolute eyesore. So I picked this little beach area and started clearing it out to build a brand new house. I wanted to go a lot smaller and more simple this time so I don't waste another 3 hours of my life, and hopefully I'll be able to add a lot more detail and make it just look nice. I started with a little deck area because I really love front decks. Don't ask why, it's just a weird obsession of mine. If my house doesn't have a front deck, I don't want it, alright? I also started adding glass panes, which I almost never use. I just always preferred the block. But the glass pane isn't terrible. It makes the build a lot less flat. Now, after finishing the front, I wasn't too satisfied with it, so I decided to just try out adding some trapdoors to the front, and honestly, I kind of like that look. I'm proud of myself for thinking of that. I then added some slabs to the roof, again, just to make it a little less flat and a little more appealing. And boom, here's the finished product. Again, not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's a lot better than what came before, and I'm proud of my work. I'm improving, and that's what matters. Now that I have a house, I'm gonna have to start moving into endgame, which means better gear. And then as I was mining down to my new mine, I ended up finding a couple of diamonds, which is pretty cool. I then did the same crawl mode mining strat, but this time at Y-54 rather than +16, so that way I get an increase in diamonds. I end up getting a 6 vein of diamonds, making my total here 8, and I crawl my way back out. Very, very slowly crawl my way out. I then make the nether portal and I enter into the dreaded dimension. Now, over the years, Minecraft Bedrock has been kinda known to be a buggy mess. Like, it's even managed to earn itself the nickname of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. But like, to be completely honest, I've put over 10 hours into this world now, and it's been pretty smooth sailing. Like, not a single bug, and I kind of expected it to be a lot worse. Like, at this point, my mind is thinking, like, people must just be nitpicking the smallest things ever, because I found nothing wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. It's been a bug-free experience. Anyways, I decided to just completely ignore the bastion, because I really don't want to die here, and I start a bridge outwards in hopes to find a fortress. Again, really utilizing the bedrock bridging mechanics. They're just so good. I even do do some down bridging to make a stairways, you know, downwards. It's just such a cool feature, alright? Java bridging could never. I'm sorry, this is so good. Now, I do end up finding a nether fortress using chunk base. I know, I'm a dirty cheater. And I actually had a couple of close calls while killing blazes. It's just, these mobs are just so deadly. Again, Bedrock is really difficult, especially since I can't just insta-heal all of my health back. So I get 7 blaze rods, crack them in the blaze powder, and I'm just out of there. I don't want to deal with that. Now, when I enter the overworld, for some reason, my portal is in a completely different place, but I didn't worry too much about that, and I just made my way back home. Now, I realized I was going through this world super quickly. Like, I'm pretty much ready to take on the Ender Dragon now. And, you know, I wasn't too satisfied with my time on this world, so I decided to fill in this bit of water right next to my home to build a better looking farm. I just want this world to look like I at least lived in it, and I want to leave something of quality behind. I feel like every build I've made so far has been so ugly, and I don't want this to just be a glorified speedrun, alright? You know, speedrun but extra steps. So I got to work making the farm. I messed around a lot with the shape and what I wanted to build it out of, but by the end, I had something I was pretty satisfied with. Not too pretty like always, but like it's a lot better than the garbage I had before. I also just added onto my house a bit. It's like when I make art in real life, where if I just leave it for a bit then come back to it, I'll notice ways to improve upon it. So I added some fences and more trapdoors just to make it pop a little more. I also added this little dock for my boat, and not massive or anything, but I think this is the nicest looking thing in my entire world. And then decided, you know what, it's time. I will get ready for the dragon fight. I crafted my eyes, and then off I went. Now, as I was boating, I ended up finding this really cool snow biome with mountains, and like I said before, the bedrock render distance makes these biomes look amazing. I see this really big mountain out in the distance, and I decided I am going to climb it one day and look at the world from that peak. Now, I'm not going to be able to do that this video since there's not that much time left. If you ever want to see a part 2 of me finishing up everything Minecraft Bedrock has to offer, you know, maybe do the wither fight, explore every other biome, build a bit more, man, leave a like and subscribe. I had a lot of fun on this world. Like, genuinely, I don't understand all the hate Bedrock gets. People act like it's an abomination, but this was genuinely just like a pleasant time. I really enjoyed it. Also, I found some of the new dogs on my way over, including a baby one, and oh my god, I am in love. I completely forgot Minecraft did this. This is the greatest update in Minecraft history. I was so happy. Now, on Minecraft Bedrock, the stronghold always spawns underneath villages. So once I found my first village that was quite a bit of ways away from spawn, I knew this was probably where it was. So I dug straight down, and I ended up falling right into it. While running around and exploring, I also encountered a skeleton spawner, which is pretty cool. I didn't take anything from it because I figured there's a good chance I just die in the dragon fight, so I left it there. But once I found the portal room, I filled in the eyes, set my spawn point, and then went right in. Now, lucky me, I got to use Bedrock Bridging once again to get to the big island. Again, this part of Minecraft Bedrock's just a lot of fun, and I'm glad I got to do it again. I started towering up to get all of the crystals. I broke one. I shot down a few. And then the ones I couldn't quite get, I decided to bridge out to. Once again, using this incredible Bedrock bridging. Now, the dragon fight on Bedrock is said to be a lot harder, and that's because the dragon itself is just so much more aggressive, and its damage goes through protection on armor. And it ended up rushing me while I was climbing this tower, which destroyed my water source. But I did manage to save myself on the block. At one point, the dragon actually did hit me down, and I barely clutched. I probably would have died here. I took out a few more towers, and then I died for the first time. Rest in peace. I didn't die quite a few times trying to get the stupid towers. And the dragon is just really aggressive, but eventually I did pull through using a whole bunch of different blocks. Just whatever I could find. I was panicked at this point. Got to the top, broke the final crystal, and then killed the dragon, winning the game of Minecraft.